They can see you. Hello, everyone. Oh, we're back. It's Monday. And do you know what I notice? Time flies by really fast. It's kind of scary.
And it's getting darker earlier,
I
and
know.
it's getting cooler outside, and it's feeling like autumn, and I'm not ready.
Oh, I love autumn, but I don't like time flying by so fast. This was the eighth episode. We're more than halfway through.
What's it going to be, 12?
Yes, we have 4 episodes left.
Wow.
I know. Four episodes. So for this chat, I wanted to spotlight Rosaline, and I'm glad that we're doing it this week. We couldn't really do it last week because we had a guest. And I'm glad we're doing it this week because their storyline was extra beautiful, I thought. What did you think of the
It
storyline?
was. I thought that was the most moving
Yeah.
storyline of the night. For
It
sure.
was. I know. I actually cried. And I know some others did too because they sent me messages. And I was like, "Yay. Yay." Because I rooted for Henry so much last season, and then I was very disappointed that he took a few steps back, but then just like the writers had explained, don't we all do that in life? We're not suddenly cured, you know what I mean? And I thought, "Well, that's true. That makes sense. This is realistic." And then I would have never thought to bring her character back in order to make him come around. You know what I mean? Like we've seen other kiddos come back. This one was really good. And I think
He
maybe
was the vehicle of his redemption, and
yeah,
I believe he was the vehicle of hers because she let go of all the anger and the hurt,
yes.
and he let go of the guilt and the self-recrimination. I think they are healing each other because I don't dare to dream that this was the end of it for Henry, that
Right.
he's all cured now. No, I think it's a huge step in the process. But and then she scooted over so he could sit down next to her in church, which kind of underscored the fact that she really has given up the anger, and her heart has changed, and she realizes his has as well. And so I just thought it was a beautiful moment between the two of them.
It really is. And
And
I
everybody was happy. Did you see how they focused on Elizabeth? And she was just grinning from ear to ear. She was so happy.
and Molly, they saw
Yeah.
Molly's look. And I like the part where Joseph and Henry had a conversation. Like he's sitting there in the church, and Joseph's like, "You're here," and he's like, thinking." And then, he prays over him, and I'm like, "Oh, this is good." And I'm glad that they're getting Joseph back to what he's supposed to be on the show for, because he had 40,000 different jobs, and I like that he's going to be taking on why I think that character's there. They need to fill that niche. Wanted to I'm sorry?
Oh, we're like these psychic twins.
Yes.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
No, I said while you're talking, I was just going to share some of the comments from our friends that are here. But go ahead, talk.
Now, I was going to say, if I was a writer for
Mhm.
this show, I
Mhm.
would very, very slowly start exploring the possibilities of whether or not there is any chemistry with Molly and Henry. She's been really staunch supporter since last season, and she
Mhm.
tried to explain to Rosaline that he's changed. He's a different man. Yes, he was bad, but people change. And then they've shown, Henry getting closer to Rosaline, and them helping each other. So I'm
Mhm.
just wondering, because I'm convinced they're going to follow some kind of storyline with Bill and Madeline. I think she's going to not. Yes, she bought the land for the wrong reasons, but I don't think she's bad. I don't think she's essentially an evil person, and I think she really cares for Bill's, and she really likes the fact that her son likes the community, and Bill was very good to her son. So I think there might be something there, and if that's the case, then that may be why they changed Bill and Molly to, well, let's just be friends, so it could open them each up to maybe some other relationships. I don't
Different.
know. It'll be interesting to see what unfolds.
Um, I'm sharing here what they're saying about Rosaline and Henry. Mary saying, "No, boy, did I use up the tissues last night with Rosaline and Henry." Yes, I did too. They were the highlight of the episode. I
Absolutely, I agree.
yes, I think that this was a kind of an episode where when I first talked to Kathy last night, I was like, it kind of was boring to me. And you said it's not that kind of an episode. It's an episode that's leading to something else,
Hmm. It's
right?
it's resolving something so they can move forward with other things for the last 4 episodes.
Right. And that made sense. I'm like, you know what? I've gone back and watched it like 3 or 4 times because there's just certain things I wanted to look at, and I like to pay attention to detail. First time it's like when I read and I tell the students we do what's called a close read. Read it just to read it, like get the gist, or if it's something that you like for the joy of it, and then we'll go back and we'll analyze it for one thing, and then we'll go back and analyze it for
Yeah.
something else. And then again, you keep seeing different things. Christina's saying she cried last night, and Chris is saying she cried. Everyone was crying. We were all crying together. And let's see. Oh, Avis, I'm sorry, I took it away. Henry and Rosaline's scenes were great. When she slid over in the pew for him to sit was so moving. And it was. It was.
You know, if I could ever ask Martin Cummins a question, one of my
Mhm.
the question would be, where did you get the Henry's walk? I mean, did you? I'm convinced he created his own backstory for the character.
Well, he was
But
hurt.
I'm
He was hurt. He hurt his leg. He almost died. He was crushed under
right, right. But I'm saying that
oh,
he could have easily. Yeah, can we? This is getting old here. This is tough. Can we just write it so he's healed? But he's kept it, and
yeah.
I just as a key part of Henry's character. So I'd love to know what his thinking was behind that.
I do. I like that too, but he does not give interviews.
No, no, I know that. I'm just
No,
saying that.
no, I know. I tried. It's so funny because when I contacted his agent, this was a couple seasons ago, and she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, you have to go through Hallmark." And I have my Hallmark, letter of reference. And when I sent it back to her, she had to write back and say, oh, okay. Then she had to write back and say, I'm so sorry, he's not giving interviews. And I laughed because then right after that, that's when it was last season when John Tinker said, I'm going to get everyone to come on. Suddenly the official official page was doing a podcast. I'm going to make this one come on and that one come on. And I was like, I'd like to see if he gets Martin to come on. And Martin had such a beautiful story. And it was one of John Tinker's favorites last season. And he did go on. There was no interview. And he's like, no, that's funny. I love it. Oh, I cried when Elizabeth was at Jack's grave. I'm going to take that off and I'm going to start because I want to come back to that. Before we go any further, I just wanted to show some love to the actress who plays Rosaline. And this is an old, she's very few professional and I guess personal, like fun things out on social media and in the official database. But this is when she was real little. Remember, she didn't speak, she didn't have a voice, and I was saying to Kathy, if you remember, and we recapped all the seasons and what we learned from each. That first year, that first season, they touched on some dicey things that they wouldn't do now. Some
Right.
serious stuff. Like there was a hint that there was sexual abuse with her. They were afraid of that. But in the end, of course, that was not the case. And she eventually did find her voice. But she was an exceptional little actress, like when she was young. And I wish we had seen more of her. She was moving on to other things. She did a few movies. This is not I think this is Real One. This is not a Hallmark movie. Spotlight on Christmas. And then the one on, I don't know which side is which for who's watching it, but
One on the right.
yeah, she has a behind the scenes photo of herself. This one is cute. The actress is really cute too. That's in it, the lead. And then here, and you can look them up if you want to catch her. This one, I remember this one with Debbie Gibson, and I liked it because it was a mini reunion because Pascal's in it. And her name is Mamie. She has a Facebook page, and it's older, but not really that much older. And she has a cute picture of her behind the scenes with Debbie Gibson. And on her Facebook page, if you wanted to follow her, Leverock, is that how you say her last name? I
I think
think.
so. Hmm.
She she's a writer. She writes her own songs and a singer. And I listened to some of her music. You could get it on Spotify. You can do it on Apple Music. Like I was able to get it through my Alexa. I don't want to say it because then it'll start talking. So if anyone's out there interested in her, here's some highlights. And I'm really glad that she came back. Isn't that cool? It's like
You get the sense she's just she was there for Henry's redemption and she's going to move on to nursing school.
I do. I don't think she'll
Yeah.
be back, although I would have loved for her to stay.
She might come back if there's something important regarding Molly that she would need to be there for. I think they would bring her back if she's available.
I like the idea of her coming back. I think it was nice that they reached out, and I do know that she and the actress who plays Molly, they still have a close like keep in touch and have a pretty decent close
It's
relationship.
really, really special, I think, that a show that uses a child actor as a character brings them back. That says a lot about the show and the continuity. And I think it's part of what keeps us engaged and feeling like this is a family because we've watched these folks grow up. Even Elizabeth to some extent, because she was just such a naive young girl when she first arrived in Coal Valley. And we've watched her grow into this remarkable young woman. So I think kudos to them for that.
I cried too. So glad to see him in church. And I cried when Elizabeth was at Jack's grave talking with him. Who would have thought that Rosaline would be the one to bring Henry to see the good in himself? So beautifully done. I know. I agree. So, Deb's saying, I have watched the episode twice and cried numerous times during both. I know where Deb is, and she's
she cried mostly during that first choir rehearsal because that was bad.
I love that. I love that whole element that they're weaving in. Do you want to talk about the gravesite now, or do you want to wait?
No, it's fine. I thought it was well done, and one of the reasons I really liked it was you could tell it wasn't the first time she's been there, because she was just saying some stuff was new information, but other stuff was just kind of, oh yeah, the wedding preparations are going fine. I mean, there was just that one off, and then she went on talking about something else. So there's obviously been a conversation where she, told Jack that she was getting married. I would have loved to have seen that scene, but I think there's gonna be at least one more graveside scene. That's my prediction. That before the wedding, Lucas is going to go to the graveside and have a conversation with Jack. And I'm hoping Elizabeth, kind of is headed there too and overhears him. And that'll just be something to bring them a little closer together. But I think that's something that very much Lucas would do. Not so much to ask his permission, but to just let him know, I love Elizabeth. I love little Jack. I will do my best to,
honor your
role in his life and raise him as best I can. So I would look for that.
You know what? It's funny because when I mentioned that to you, I said, I think that I was thinking it would be Elizabeth there talking and then he's coming in to talk too. And you said, no, I think it's the opposite way. And I think you're right. Like he's already there and she's coming to say something and she overhears and listens to everything that he has to say, which is kind of beautiful. And I really hope that's what they did. So if that's a scene that hasn't been written, hello, writers that are listening. Hello, Peter. Hello, whoever, Derek, Allie, whoever's out there and you're hearing us. I hope you Lindsay. I hope you throw that in somewhere, somehow. But I really do hope.
Karen, she's an executive producer. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I really do hope it is in this season. And let's see. Oh, someone is agreeing with you. I always have when you agree with one of us, I got to put that up there. Christina's saying, yes, Kathy, I thought of that. Henry and Molly could possibly get together. It's human nature that we always want to put people together. But I have to tell you, there are some characters that have never been put with anybody.
Well, let me think. Who could? Never mind.
Oh, I didn't even get there. I didn't even mean that. I meant that have been there since the beginning of the Henry's been there since the beginning of the show.
Yeah, but he's had a couple of women.
He did. You are correct. Correct. How about Molly?
Well, she had that fleeting kind of thing with Bill, and that didn't
That's
last.
it.
So she's due.
Yeah.
And back then, in that time period, you didn't see many single people.
I know.
I mean, there's Fiona, who is perpetually single, and then she'll flirt with somebody for a little bit and then move on. And
Modern.
yeah,
You
she
know what?
represents the modern woman, I guess.
While you're mentioning her, I want to talk about her for a minute. I remember twice. I had to go back and look to make sure I wasn't cuckoo in the head. I remember twice. Kevin said it, and so did Kayla, that she was supposed to have a pretty big storyline this season. She's non-existent. She's less than last year.
Well, as I tell the folks who are complaining about who's getting airtime and who's not getting airtime so far, there's still 4 more episodes, and we don't know what's going to happen or what may pop up for any of the characters. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that she may get woven into or weaved into the storyline for the last few episodes. Remember, we're talking now. The big baddies are in town.
Yes.
And so folks have to band together against them. And what is Fiona really good at?
Yes.
Banding together with other townsfolk to
make a difference.
Make a difference. Yeah. So I suspect we're going to see more for her.
Do you know what I love that they do, though? They still write that character in the conversation, which would be human, like what happens in real life. Like, for instance, although she hasn't had this big giant part, there's this whole conversation taking place in the mercantile between the Yosts and the Coulters and Minnie, and they're talking about putting a choir together and doing something great for the governor that will get his attention for him to come by because he's campaigning. And Lee says, "Oh, what if we could get it for, broadcasted over the air if we performed and all of that?" And they're like, "Oh, Fiona could do it." And they're like, "You think so?" And he's like, "Sure, it's Fiona." Like, she's in their conversations, just like Gustav is mentioned in almost every episode. Like this past episode, we haven't seen the actor, but he's still alive and well. Even Laura.
Characters alive. Yep. So that's a good thing.
Yep. Do you have Nathan say, "Where's Laura? We miss her." And, "Oh, she's getting ready to go to teacher college." Right. Yep. And then we also have Gustav. He's making his rat tattoo, and it's little Jack's favorite. Elizabeth came to pick it up. So I love how they do that. But then again, who wrote this episode? Mr. Derek. He was the writer of last night's episode and did a great job with most of the storylines. So very true. He's been there for a very long time. And he said this on our show, our show. He said this last year when we were chatting with him. He always goes back to Elizabeth. Ultimately, she is the core of the story, right? Mm-hmm. And if you watch, she was the core of the storyline when with what was going on with Rosaline, what was happening with Montague, what was going on, of course, in her own life, her helping out Nathan, having that wonderful conversation with him, her being a part of how they can get the governor to come there. So she was even when they're up there singing in the choir, if you notice, right? And you're watching their reactions. You see Molly for a split second, but you're seeing Elizabeth's reactions to Henry coming in and what's yeah.
She's not the only storyline, but she is pivotal.
Oh yes, no. I agree. Like he said that too. But things revolve. Like she's connected. That's the connection because it's supposed to be about her life and her storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So now there's that conversation. Now, Catherine saying, "Is it just me? But I thought Jack Thornton's headstone was underwhelming." They're simple people.
They're basic.
Yeah, they're not like my Italian family that has like a headstone that takes like a giant forklift to bring in, and it's got your picture on it and tears and where your handprint was when you were hugging it and you're plying the person off the grave. You know what I mean? Like all the bells and whistles. I'm like, oh my God. Like when I said to my family, like what I wanted for when I died, not my immediate family, but the older people were like, why? Like they were insulted,
Yeah.
No.
No, it was a basic, here's who he
Yeah.
was and when he lived and when he passed and, who he was. He was a husband and a father and a friend and all that good stuff.
And Rebecca's saying that Henry is one of her favorite characters. He always, every season, has something pivotal to the season. Every year, after year after year. So
Yep.
it
And the
amazes.
character of what he adds has changed over the years, but you're right. There's always something. And
I
he's really developed relationships. Do you remember from the very beginning when he was he was the big bad for the first
Yep,
couple of seasons.
yep,
And now everybody cares for him, especially the guys he's bonded with, most of the men folk. And
yep.
it's just totally, it's a dissertation on how to turn around a character in 10 seasons.
This is so true. This is so true. It reminded me so much of the older stories. Yes, Rosaline and Henry was a taste of what used to be on the show, redemption and side stories that are seen through E's lens. Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
I so agree. Oh wait, Gigi might be agreeing with me on something. I don't know what. Me too, Roxanne. I thought that the scene with Henry, Rosaline, it was beautiful, and Pastor Joe's okay, encouraging Henry, he needs that, but I want Joseph to have more to do. So do I, and I think he will. I think we've been watching that little by little. Every episode it's been evolving, little notes of it. Like if I were to go back and backtrack it like I've done for other things, it's always a hint in every single episode. You're doing too much, do something for your family. I don't know where I should do. Like it keeps on going. Yeah. Okay. What are we going to talk about next? Do we want to mention because that was the biggest part of this scene, I mean the episode, and the other thing that was really big was the governor coming.
Before you get into that, just something you said a few minutes ago about our instinct to want to put people together.
Yes.
I'm wondering if that's where they're headed with, May and
Mike?
Mike. And how do you feel about it if that's where they're headed?
It's heading somewhere for Mike because there's an episode that where they showed promos where he's hiding behind like the counter or something, and he's got flowers in his hands. And if you look at it, Hallmark is leading you to believe this because you know how Hallmark does their thing. So with May, um to be honest with you, I liked him so much, believe it or not, last season with Faith. I like the two of them and their little interaction. I know that that's not going to go anywhere. I don't know. It could be. It looked cute. It looked cute.
It looked cute, but it also looked written, scripted. I wasn't really feeling the chemistry. And
Okay.
I'm hoping that it isn't, they're putting them together because we got this one character who doesn't have a relationship, and we got this other character who doesn't have a relationship. So let's put them together. I'll have to see a little bit more to see if there's chemistry there and to see if, there's something there to really catch your interest.
Well, do you know that's just his Mike's character? He's very it's like not that he's sort of naive, but he's innocent. Let's say that. He's innocent. And he always has these little crushes. His little crush with Fiona,
Yeah.
remember? And then whatever was going on with him and Faith. And now he's,
Yeah.
with
So
May.
is this a little crush or is this going to turn into something? I guess that's my question.
Right. And I think he gravitates towards women like that because he is what, the only boy in all of his sisters. Remember there was when he was mayor and the door wouldn't work and Bill threw him out and he was trying to open the door to the little shack that he had right next door to him. And then he has this box with his stuff and he's trying to teach him how to be mayor. And he looks at this picture, Bill's so gruff. And he's like, "What's that?" And he's like, "That's my family." And when he looks at the picture, he's like, that says a lot. It's you and all these girls. So they mother henned him to death.
But he is really attracted to strong women. I'll give him that.
He is. all three of those women,
Mhm.
extremely strong and independent women.
Yep.
So I'm not sure where they're going with that. That just might be fun.
Mhm.
Like again, I don't want everybody to have to suddenly be paired off and it's sort of forced and it doesn't evolve in a storyline organically, I'm thinking.
Yeah, same
Um,
here.
yeah. Okay. So how about we talk about Montague. We little by little they've been I want to have that actor on. He's been on lots of things. I don't know if he's part of the strike or not, but I'm going to reach out to him. And I'm not sure he'll want to come on until we know what went down because he probably thinks we want spoilers, right? What do you
Never.
think's going to go down?
Um, I I think it's probably going to be a redo with the few frilly changes, but I think it's probably going to be kind of very similar to when the Pinkertons came in and tried to take over, and Wyman and all the bad guys who have tried to come in and
Railroad.
the railroad folks. I think it's going to be the same thing, and it's just a matter of what clever ruse are they going to do to outsmart these folks this time. And
And
I
then
think Madeline's going to be key to helping turn that around. And
so
she will
when
redeem herself.
I'm sorry. When Elizabeth was having a conversation and asking Montague about things about his soon to be stepson, and I said it's such poor directing or acting. Now the directors were a team that were excellent. Peter was one of them that was a team who did this. And I'm like, why is it that it was so obvious? Like, oh, I don't know. And we were talking about how sometimes if it was too subtle,
We
people
wouldn't get
don't
it.
get it or see it. And I was like, oh, that's true. Not that we're questioning people's intelligence, but I think it's because we're so invested in
They have to
other.
play to the lowest common denominator. And
Yes.
so
Yeah.
we have to make it obvious that,
Yeah.
I think this guy may not be engaged to Madeline at all.
Yes, yes. And I suspect that we all knew all along. That's why it had to be a body of water, a body of water. There's something going on. They showed the bridge. I like we were talking, they're all going to get involved. We already know Lee is going to wind up being involved. Already, who's questioning and looking over, and that was Rosemary, because she likes to investigate stuff. She's like, she
And
gets up.
Elizabeth is doing the same thing
Yep.
from another angle. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So they're all going to wind up banding together. And I love that they didn't mention the baby, but they did, because when she was getting up, Rosemary, to go and talk, you could see the baby with the bunting like over it, like the little carriage behind there. And so she's bringing her daughter to work. Like I knew she would. I
Yeah.
knew that's how she would do it. I love it. I love it. All right. And you know what shocked me though? I think it was mentioned, was it last episode or this episode? I really thought that she would be the one, Rosie would be the one that wouldn't want someone to watch her baby. She does want help. It's Lee who doesn't.
Which is actually pretty typical of that couple. If you
Yeah.
think about their dynamic with each other.
Mhm. Yes, yes. I know there are a lot of comments and I'm not going down on purpose because I don't want to miss them. But so let's talk about Nathan and Elizabeth and their scenes that they shared. They had quite a few scenes. I know when I mapped this out, and when I talk about scenes, I'm looking at like you get your, where you have to be, you got your script in your hand and who's in that scene. So Elizabeth and Lucas, or Aaron and Chris, they were in 8 scenes together. 8. And um I was thinking about Nathan and Elizabeth had quite a few scenes. I didn't count them, but I feel like almost just as much. Her having the conversation about she's worried, her having the funny conversation about Allie coming, and then the wonderful conversation they had in her house. So she gets surprised that he's inside. Like neither she didn't know that, nor did Lucas. Not that I think he would have really cared anyway. And they have their little convo, and it reminded me so much of their interaction, not last season, but the season before, which would have been season 7, 8, 8,
We're in 10. Mhm.
8. I'm sorry, 8. That's right. I'm sorry. So whenever they were together and they would talk, you could see how attracted he was to her, and he was sort of a little shy and awkward, but you could also see how it made her feel awkward. Like she like averts her eyes, moves down or whatever, and she still a little bit is doing that, even though their relationship is much stronger now and they are still really good friends. And I think they're even getting closer as friends. And their connection was always Allie, always from day one. And again, that was why their connection was that night. And she felt comfortable enough to say to him, I saw you with, Faith. And
Are you
he's like,
giving up on love? And
yeah.
yeah.
And then they laugh, oh, are you giving up on love? And he's like, I don't know. He's still working through whatever he needs to work through. So I'm excited to see. I always had this theory that like something's going to happen that is going to make him say to himself, you know what, like break away from that fear he might have to open his heart again. And I think maybe this whole life and death, situation, not that I think it's life and death for him, because I saw the previews and he's just sitting there. Like he didn't look like he was really upset when he was being held hostage. And it's the poor farmers that are mad, that are having a standoff. But those poor people, because they have no water, drought, whatever, they're mad at their town. Well, it's not really a drought. I'm wondering if that would propel him to think, "Oh, wow, I really do have feelings for like Faith." And do you think Faith is going to get upset when she finds out?
No, I think you're absolutely right. Whatever happens next
Mhm,
week, the climax of it is going to drive story for Nathan. I hope the guy
mhm.
needs a storyline. Um, but I'm not sure what exactly is going to drive it. Like there's going to be a gunshot, we know. We
Mhm.
know Elizabeth's going to be worried. So I had a theory earlier that maybe Lucas goes with Bill to try to rescue
Oh,
Nathan, and maybe he gets shot. And so Elizabeth's like, I can't lose another man that I love.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I could also see if, they think that somebody's been hurt and maybe they'll need a Dr. Faith coming along.
yeah,
And
yeah.
maybe she gets hurt, which could propel Nathan into realizing I'm wasted enough time. Let me tell her how I really feel. And I think if Faith felt that he was being sincere and
Mhm.
that he really had feelings for her and he was sharing, honestly with her and openly, I think she'd give him another shot.
And when Nathan leaves and he stands outside and he looks back and he has like that little smile on his face, I was thinking to myself, like, it was almost like, yeah, that was awkward, but I made make like it was almost like oh, I made it through.
I picked up almost the same thing, except I
Yeah,
picked up we made it. Yeah, like what you just said. We're friends now. And
yeah,
my heart is not breaking right now.
right,
Having a
right.
conversation with Elizabeth. That's what I took from it.
Yeah, but I liked it. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for like what is going to come up next
And not
for
that awkwardness of no, no, I'll take Allie home. She doesn't need to stay here. And
yeah, yeah.
there was none of that.
No, I liked it, and that she said she could stay, why
Mhm.
drag her? She's tired, and so
Although I bet that sofa's not that comfortable.
that sofa's terrible. That furniture is remember when Lucas's poor body had a poor
Yeah.
Chris, the actor, he was probably like, "Oh my god, a backache and whatever other
Take
ache."
that girl home and let her sleep in her own bed.
I know, I know. There were some other things I wanted to bring up, but let's see, let's move down and see how we're doing. Mm, oh, this is cute. Leah saying, my mother, Tammy, thinks Joseph is the most handsome man ever. He is
He's a
handsome.
nice looking fella.
I've had the opportunity to chat with him. And even though this is virtual, it's still different when you're behind the scene and like behind in the screen, you get to see someone up close. And he is a handsome man. He's Natasha. Oh, she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. Minnie,
Oh
gorgeous.
yeah, we've had her on. She's
Oh my
yeah,
God.
beautiful.
We had her on a
And
couple of
she
times.
looks so much younger.
She is young, so
And no, I
gorgeous.
mean without the makeup and the character.
Yep,
Yeah.
she does. You don't realize how young she is, and she's beautiful, and she can sing, and she's gorgeous voice. Let's see. Christina's saying it was even touching when E went to Jack's grave. That was another touching part last night. She needed to go there and talk to him. Yes, and I liked it because it made it show that she's done it often, right? And we definitely we've addressed that. So I'm just moving down to all the new comments. Let's see, all the way down here. Um, let's see. Someone's complaining. So many great parts, but the Lucas and Elizabeth scenes were empty once again, and the writers gave Nathan so many great scenes with her. It's just so frustrating. I don't see that at
I
all.
think it's all a matter of perspective. I mean, I
Yeah,
thought the scenes with Nathan and Elizabeth were good, but I
they're
did by no means did I think Lucas and Elizabeth's scenes were empty. He poured his heart out to her and actually apologized to her for overlooking her
good.
concerns about the Montagues and
Yes.
saying, I know you've got good. That was wonderful.
And she did the same. They always did. They would always remember whenever they would have little clashes, they would come back and he would usually be the first to say, I'm so sorry. And she would do the same. And they did.
Yep.
They're finding their ground together. I love that they had the scene on the bridge. And he says to her when he's holding her hand, no, she goes for his hand. He says to her, I know what it's like to think that you're losing like someone, I forget the exact wording, but when you're losing the one that you love or you care a lot about. He was talking about Jack. I'm not Jack, I'm sorry, Jack Wagner is his name. He's talking about
Bill.
Bill, but he was talking about himself. And she looks and she's like, grabs his hand, I'm so sorry I've been sour, and she's like, this was my idea, let's make the most of it. And I love their kiss on the bridge.
Yeah.
They were there at the bridge. I think that that's amazing. And if you want to compare a Lucas and Elizabeth with, like, if we're going to do that with Nathan and Elizabeth, Lucas and Elizabeth had a fun scene with the flower giving and the different accents he was doing and the little flirty funny stuff. And Nathan and Elizabeth had a funny thing like that and standing in the outside in the center of town. And then Lucas and Elizabeth had a very serious conversation, a beautiful one on the bridge, right? And Nathan and she had one in the house. But they had more. I mean, Elizabeth and
It's so obvious to me. I don't know why. Well, I guess that's what perspective is all about. Nathan and Elizabeth are friends, and they had a friendly conversation, and there was no illusion, there were no looks, there was no body language, there was nothing to indicate to me it was anything other than.
yeah.
And what I'm seeing with Lucas and Elizabeth is an evolution. They are not just, the young couple in love anymore. They are moving more toward a commitment to each other. They are devoted to each other, and they are being painfully honest to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're both learning to do that and learning that they need to do that. They won't just say things to each other and assume the other one knows where he's coming from. And that's why Lucas was apologizing to her. I love watching them become this stable couple that gets each other.
Yeah.
And they don't need the outward PDAs to prove that they love each other.
Every 2 minutes.
It's in their conversation. It's in the looks they give each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's in their body language. It's in everything. I love that.
It's realistic. Deb says, I loved how Elizabeth got to the grave and said, hi, you. So realistic. I meant to mention that too. I do too. And this is important too, apparently. Go Steelers. I guess. Grammy Rose is here and she said, I finally made it. My dumb phone died. I too cried at the Rosaline and Henry scenes. Okay, Grammy Rose. Hi. All right, let's see if we can move down. What's some other stuff we have here? It says, oh, I love that, Roxanne, that Lucas goes to the grave and Elizabeth hears him. Yes.
My idea, but
that's actually not my idea.
No credit, Roxanne. That's okay. We don't fight for credit here.
Sure, we do. Because I had it flipped the other way. And then when you said, Kathy, no, I was like, yes, that's even better. She stumbles upon and she hears Oh, poor Allie needs some babysitting classes.
Yeah, first lesson 101. Don't play hide and seek for the first game until you learn the lay of the land.
You know what I love? I love how, and he's so good at this. This is his thing. And I think Chris is getting more like this too. But Kevin McGarry is so great with his little one-liners, and some he says he ad-libs a lot. But I love when Elizabeth walks in and she's real serious, but he's too busy writing, and he says to her, I hope you're not coming here to give me, some babysitting money, because he's like, like when you
You
kind of
lose
like,
the kid, you
yeah,
get a
yeah, yeah,
refund
yeah,
for that night.
full refund. And then when he looks up, he sees her face. He's like, what's the matter? And then she starts sharing with him. So again, I think this is like that whole uniting, bringing them all together. They're going to work as a team. And I cannot wait to see how they take down this Montague and the Union City, whatever they are, people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So, Lillian's saying Derek tweeted, it will all work out. Of course it all works out.
Well,
We already know. We already know this. Okay, so let's see what this is. I love how this episode gave some updates on a part characters like Laura and Gustav. Yes, and progress plot while wrapping up some things in Henry's redemption. Yes, like we were saying, good writing. I like that they did that, and how they don't let us forget about any of the other characters. Let's see. Kathleen saying she only was able to watch some of it. I watched last night, and what I managed to see was beautiful. It was my son's birthday, 24 years old. I'm going to have to rewatch, and I think I missed some important stuff from the convo here. Yes, watch it. There was a lot. If
it
we,
always bears watching more than once, because
yes, and you're going to see that there's a lot of little hints of what's to come. Like they're making this big deal for the governor to come, and the governor coming means something very important. As a matter of fact, when they showed a clip, not a clip, a preview, where the Benson Beagle, they support Lucas, he's going to be running. So is he running for governor? And everybody's like, then he has to move. He has to move. Is he running for governor?
I don't know.
Or is he running for mayor?
Aren't
No,
they short of mayor? I don't know.
the Benson Beagle wouldn't, or Beetle wouldn't care, but maybe he could be running for something else. I know it's because they need to save the town. We know that the water is going to be all disappeared, that Montague is probably, it would destroy the entire town and everything that's with it. And the only way to be doing that is probably they have the ear or the support of the current governor, would be to run against him. And that would be interesting to see how that goes. And we know it's like that. There's some kind of an election, because it says it in the official promos, and it's Elizabeth by his side, and the entire town is with him. So we'll see. Let's see. Yes, Roxanne, the core lens. Yes, Roxanne, is the core lens by which we view the story. Loved bringing back to her meddling, nosy self. That is what always has been. It's true.
Yep.
It's true. And this is funny. And Kathy is she she sings, and she's in a choir, and she said she loved that whole aspect. And how about how mean Rosemary was going to be? She was like, she was not having it. And Elizabeth's like, no, like she was going to straight up tell her, you suck, you stink, to poor May. Oh God. All right, let's see. Are we missing anything here?
Yeah, I've got to say something.
Go ahead.
I got to get on my soapbox here, because I'm seeing several comments alluding to the fact that what they're doing is putting Elizabeth and Nathan back together. They're not back together. They were never together. Let me just say, I've said this before.
Okay.
For if you've got folks who are thinking that or hoping that or wanting that, I strongly urge you, for your physical and mental and emotional health, leave it alone. The horse is dead. You can quit beating it. Sometimes Hallmark marketing people get a little overenthused, and they do stuff to just create buzz. I don't know why they'd want to create this buzz, because I think it was disastrous. Well, I thought it was disastrous, but they probably feel like, oh, it drove viewership. It people were talking about it. It's not happening. Nathan and Elizabeth are friends. Lucas and Elizabeth are the end game. They love each other. What more could she talk to Lucas about Jack? He has, he's practically moved in with them. He babysits Jack. Jack and he have bonded. Jack adores him. That's not going to change. So, I mean, commercials, clips, previews, people's perspectives notwithstanding, it's not happening. Okay, I'm off my soapbox now.
Okay. This part here, the graveside was so late. Wish they had done a series of that sooner. I'm hoping that she opens up to Lucas finally and lets him see that part of her. She has. She does talk to him. And he's even talked to her about stuff like that. So, I mean, do you want to know what I think? And I said this before when all this first started happening. It's not the Lucas and Elizabeth show. That's not what this is. You want to see, oh, more romance, more romance, more romance. We already had all that. That honeymoony kind of before they get engaged, that wonderful courtship. That's what last season was about. Now they're engaged. They're going to start planning the wedding, but life, is going on. Things are happening. And all you want to see is that constantly. I don't know, that would get old. I would like to see all the other storylines that are happening as well. Someone wrote this, and this makes good sense because this is someone breaking this down. I don't have permission to share it, so I'm not saying the person's name, but they said a couple doesn't, and for good writing, okay? When you are writing a story and you're building up to the climax, right? A good writer is not suddenly going to backtrack. That makes no sense. And she says, a couple doesn't spend a year getting to know each other as friends, a year having romantic unofficial dates, a year of official dates with PDA and near kisses, a year of official courtship and introducing your son intimately to your partner, then get engaged, introduce him to your extended family and start planning a wedding, then turn around and be with someone else. There is a difference between caring for someone deeply and true romantic lifelong love. Elizabeth cares for Nathan deeply, but her true romantic lifelong love is Lucas. I'm looking at that not even as if the characters are real, but as story writing. You know what I mean? Like you don't suddenly that. I tell my students all the time, is it plausible? Because people, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. Well, no, that makes no sense. I'm just making a prediction. It's got to be plausible. Like my kiddos, if it's realistic fiction and you tell me, oh, Mr. Ensis, you know how it's going to be resolved? An alien's going to jump in their backyard. And I'd say, well, that would be sci-fi. So that's not plausible. That could be your opinion, your prediction, but that makes no sense in context, So it's almost like hypersensitive, like you're looking to read into something. You're trying to find something. And what have we stirred up? All these triangle arguments all over again. I'm not going to say who, actually more than one. I've had guests come on and say to me, please do not talk about it when I'm on because we see it and we don't want to hear it. Like they don't want to be involved. They're upset by it. So I'm like, okay. Yeah, Montague had no idea what Jamie was doing. You got it. That's what he's so obvious. Yeah. All of the Hope Valley men are attracted to strong women. Just have to say, I'm still rooting for Bill and Molly. Me too. Me too. I am too.
I don't know. We'll see if that ship has sailed or not.
I think it has. They basically, the writer said it. Christina is saying they're fine. Don't worry about it. People are like, no, they're not getting back. Who's Leah Davis? Leah Davis, you're on here. I missed what you said. Where is she? Oh, that nonsense. Do you think they're getting? I need thoughts. No, they are not.
That's the thought. No, they're not.
Let's see. They're draining the river to control the water, either to drive out peeps and get the land or to harness the energy.
Yeah. So they think they just haven't been up against the Hope Valley men folk plus Fiona and Elizabeth and Rosemary, I guess. So the Hope Valley folks.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I know. That's what Kathy said. They never were. Okay. All right. I'm just looking down to see what else.
Grammy Rose has an interesting comment at 8:48.
Okay. 8:48. And plus I have my little game I played. Got to give out a prize. All right, I got to move all the way down. I'm not there yet. Hold on. 8:48. Grammy Rose usually has something good to say all the time. Where are you, Grammy? I'm coming. Oh, people were wanting to say about Jeanette. I'm looking at some of their comments. I always wanted to meet her too. I think she'd be a great character.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? 8 what? 40?
48.
Okay, getting there. I'm sorry. Thank you for your patience, friends. 8:46. It's making me dizzy. I have to be careful. There's so many comments here. You go, Kathy.
We're
I
trying
totally
to,
agree.
we're trying to figure out how I can do this so we can save time in the future.
Be quiet.
What? I wasn't trying to be snarky.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Is this the one? I think
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
we want to see Elizabeth have deeper conversations with Lucas. She had never talked to him about Jack. I just want to hear her tell Lucas she loves him again. She did. You mean in every episode? Because she did say that not too long ago. They had a big conversation not too long ago. Remember about love and all that?
Yeah, that's what I kind of wondered if Grammy missed that.
Rebecca's saying, yes, Grammy. It would be nice to see that. We have. Okay, what is a trestle bridge? Lee is providing lumber for whoever the water project is, which I believe is hydropower dam. Okay, Arlene. What is a trestle bridge? Deb's telling me I'm spot on. A trestle bridge. I don't know.
I can picture it, but I don't know how to explain what it is because it was the whole theme of a movie with Clint Eastwood and Shirley MacLaine, where she played a call girl who was posing as a nun. Two Mules for Sister Sarah. It was all about a trestle bridge and them blowing it up so that the bad guys couldn't get across.
Yeah.
That didn't help though, did it?
Trestle, you know what a trestle is, so that must be a part of what it is that they're doing because the bridge is not necessarily.
Oh, okay. A trestle bridge is a bridge composed of a number of short spans supported by closely spaced frames.
Okay. And that made sense because they showed all the different spots of where they were going to be putting them.
A bridge is a connection between 2 points without contact with the ground in between. A trestle is a horizontal support for other structures.
Okay.
I still don't know what that means to Hope Valley, and I don't know if we're supposed to know yet.
I don't think we are either. I think that's why they're saying, why do they need all those trestle bridges? And she said, especially when the road is over here.
Yeah.
So, okay. By the end of the season, Nathan will have his love interest and possibly Faith or Fiona. We'll see it. Definitely going to get interesting in that last few episodes. Can't wait. I know I can't wait.
I think that's absolutely spot on. It's going to be an exciting end of the season.
If this is a soap opera, then they could very well end up together, but it's not. Doesn't even make sense. When Nathan left after talking to Elizabeth, a lot of people thought that his look was about Elizabeth. I think her asking if he was giving up on love made him think about trying again with Faith. Oh, I absolutely know it. Like you saw how she does her little look. You got to read people and you got to know when they're nervous, they have a certain way of acting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I know. Yeah. People see anything. They could walk across. Listen, what about last week when they're dancing and she looks over? Oh, the look. Oh my God, the look she gave him. Yeah, I showed you up close what that looked like. Thank you, Jan, for that picture. The look was her smiling from ear to ear. Whatever. I'm so over it. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I'm wondering if Nathan has more secrets that are preventing him
Yeah, you
from
said
just
that.
letting totally go and fall in love. I don't think it's just the fact that he tried with Elizabeth and that didn't work. I think it goes deeper than that.
I remember you saying that before.
Yeah. So
like
we shall see what we shall see.
All right, so we've got my question. My challenge this time was, how many scenes were E and L, Elizabeth and Lucas, in where they did not smooch? Okay, how many scenes were they in but they did not smooch? So don't put your answer up yet. So it's right now it is 8:56. You could start putting it up at 8:57. The first person to put it up at 8:57.
What number are you looking for?
Oh, not 8:57, just 57. 57.
No,
57 after the time.
what's the question again?
The question again, well, then I will have to extend it. The question is, I put it out there. They should see it on social media. How many scenes were they in where they did not kiss? They did not, or
Someone asked, does a hand kiss count? You're saying the lips in it.
nope, they can kiss hands,
Okay.
smooching. They did not smooch. Whatever your time frame is when it's 57 after. Let's see. The Trestle Bridge can be, while we're doing that, the Trestle Bridge can be very tall in height. It can be built over water and also hills and land. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. First with 57 after. Let's see.
I see Avis gave an answer of 5. Is that right?
Nope.
4, is that right?
Nope.
Is 6 right?
Yep.
Then I believe that's Lillian.
Yes, it is Lillian. Lillian has won. They were in 8 scenes together, and only 2 did they kiss. Once they kissed on the bridge, lip kiss, and then when he walked her home in that scene, he kissed her hand. Yep. There were 6. Something is up with Nathan. Also, what is the deal with his shoulder? He was in pain at beginning of the season. Why mention that? Does his injury put him in danger or prevent him from doing his job? I don't know. I'm not sure. I just think you don't suddenly just heal. I think that might be just good writing, you know? I'm not sure. Yes, it's true. Yeah. But people are creatures of habit. I like that. Lillian's like, woohoo! I'll be sending you a prize, Lillian. I'll let you know. I usually send it like later tonight. Well, next week is episode 9, and it looks exciting. I can't wait to see what goes down. What are your predictions?
Action.
Yes. What are your predictions?
I think somebody's going to get shot, not killed, but maybe shot or come close to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think their loved one is going to be all worried, and we shall see I kind of hope it's someone like Faith. I mean, I don't want to hurt, but I want something to impel Nathan to, realize, if this is what the writers have in mind, that, whoa, this is somebody important to me and I need to make a move before it's too late.
Okay. All right. And we know he gets some kind of Medal of Honor, and we get to meet the governor, right?
Yeah, I kind of don't think it'll be Nathan because he's already been hurt. Hasn't it been more than once this season? Or was that last season when he got run over by the car? That was last season.
Last season.
But has anything happened to him this season? Why do I picture him? Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking about last season.
No. Nathan is taken hostage. Yes. It's not like it's by bad people per se. So the farmers apparently are having a standoff because the farmers up in Eagle, what is it, Eagle Rock or whatever.
Rock now.
Yeah, well, wherever, I know Union City has something to do with it. They have like Harry said, the character of Harry, it's dust out there. They have no water. They have nothing. And it looks like somehow he gets, in the middle of it and he gets taken hostage. Yeah. So, but when you see him sitting at the table, it doesn't look like he's like super overly concerned. And then what I found interesting too was the scene where it's Elizabeth and they show the scene of her, I can't do this again, whatever that means. I mean, the way the clips are going, they want us to think it has to do with Nathan being held hostage. But we've learned
just as easily be, I can't stand to see another man I love.
Yeah. Or maybe
it's another man I love. Yeah.
Right. But the thing of it too is it's Henry that's in that barn talking with her. I'm wondering if she's going to get on a horse or something because she's in there in the barn talking to him, and he says that.
Yep.
Did you notice it was him? Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. What's Nikki saying? Because of the preview of Elizabeth crying and saying she can't do this again, I think it is Lucas who gets shot. Nathan fans are sure that she is crying for Nathan. Whatever. I mean, yeah. And this is funny. The cabin in the woods sure does serve a lot of purpose. All the upgrades Joseph made are gone and it's back to plain Jane again. I don't think it's the same one.
Yeah.
They're two different cabins. That Henry sold his cabin, and I think they bought Henry's cabin and upgraded it. And this cabin is that Joseph bought. This cabin is belongs to Bill. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. They got us all eager. I don't want a week to fly by. It's a week of my life flying by.
I know. Sometimes I wish When Calls to Heart was like other dramas that just drop all at the same time, and you can just watch all the episodes and get it out of your system and move on with your life.
Yeah. Oh, Rona, you're right. That choir got good really fast. They were good. It was only one person that was kind of off. Yes, there's more than one cabin in the woods. Yes. Yes. Yep. Bill's had his for a while. And as a matter of fact, there was a point where Nathan was going to buy it from him. Remember, he had the plans. He was going to go out because he was thinking about buying and becoming a family man, right?
Mhm.
And but that was like sort of after, in between, where the Canfields went and bought Henry's. I think it wasn't it Henry's who owned that? I think it was him. I could be wrong. What's the matter?
My phone's ringing.
Oh. What's this? Grammy Roses says, no, I guess I didn't hear her say, I love you, Lucas said, but I don't think I heard her this season. Oh, yeah. They had a big whole conversation with him about love and all of that. They were sitting on a swing. Oh, yes, that's funny. Yes, Ned was saying the wrong words because Flo had to help him. Yeah. I will be in Vancouver next Monday, so might have to catch the replay. Okay. Yep, you'll be there with the official peeps promoting when you're not allowed to promote, but that's okay. All right. Well, you have a good one.
Have a good one, folks.
Thank you. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. They're talking to each other about who's going to be going to the
Mm-hmm.
Hardy reunion.